Hi everyone, so today I am going to share and review and do a little flip through of this beautiful book. So it's called Plant and it is pretty hefty, so I'll try to turn it around so I can get it in, and even that way it's not fully in, but you get the idea basically how big this book is. So it's it says here, exploring the botanical world. So basically this book is everything you need to know about a botanical world. So I love the cover, it's quite stunning. It's sort of done in these kind of petals, but it looks like feathers to me at the same time. It's meant to look like a flower, but they basically took shots of those beautiful illustrations from the book and kind of done these sort of petals within those prints, and it just looks absolutely amazing. So, and also if you can see like that, it's not flat but it's sort of like embossed. Gorgeous book cover, and it is very heavy, incredibly heavy, also very thick. So if I show you here, comparing next to my fingers, you can see how thick it is, and I'll just tell you how many pages there are, and there are 352 pages, so pretty big. And it took me 3 nights before going to bed of flipping through and enjoying this book. So yeah, I gave this book to myself as a birthday present in June and really love it, and I couldn't recommend it more. So in essence, what this book holds are photography of anything botanical, so flowers, cacti, leaves, anything like that. And apart from the photography, it also of course has paintings, and the paintings are in different mediums. So it could be the classic watercolor botanical paintings, or it could be in other mediums, like, you know, the classic example would be Georgia O'Keeffe, obviously. So let's look at the introduction. So that's what it looks like. And the other thing they have done is they have a beautiful kind of sometimes complementary and sometimes contrasting layout. So for example, in this particular case, we have the beautiful Rosa centifolia, and it's by Pierre-Joseph Redoute, I think, and it's from 1820, so quite an old sort of, you know, classic example of botanical art. And then contrasting a rose digital sea print, next page. Sometimes they have for example a rose, but in sort of similar styles, if you wish, and sometimes it's contrasting. So that's how they played on the layouts, and also going from very modern to obviously the classics. And they have the very early. There is a photograph here of a French, I think it's a French artist, I'm not entirely sure, but a flower that was pressed and dried in France, and this was supposed to be the first herbarium ever made or documented. So I think it goes back to 15th century or something like that. So yeah, very interesting, very informative. So you learn a lot about history of flowers as well. And there is at the bottom here, which you can't see at the moment, so here you've got 3 paragraphs under every page, so under each piece of work. And what it does is gives you a nice bit of information either about the artist or the flowers that they're painting. So very interesting indeed. So, you know, if I sat down and read all of it, it probably would take me weeks. But yeah, purely because I just don't have the time. But whichever sort of pictures I did read, it really was interesting. So look at this one, for example, Bird of Paradise, and it's by Franz Bauer. So the artist's name is always on the top of the picture. It's really nicely structured, and it's circa 1818. So it's hard to believe that, you know, during that time they obviously had very minimal kind of technology in terms of how the watercolor would be and how everything would be. So you would them expect to paint something quite simplistic, but you know, this is gorgeous. I'll show you a couple other examples here. For example, circa 1702, and it's a beautiful illustration of aloe. And it says here it's watercolor on paper, and it's by the artist Maria Maninx, I think. Oh, here we go. Beautiful piece. Again, how hard is it to even imagine that this piece was painted back in the day. Then we have a kind of so it says here 1700, and then there is 1737. We then have a very simplistic arrangement. So yeah, it's interesting to see that you know, the difference between the styles. And again, we have there's another 1792, very classic representation of a botanical journal where they would, you know, write in fountain pen, and they would kind of represent different parts of the flowers. So it's, I mean, it's amazing if you just love flowers in general, if you love going to gardens or garden shops or parks and just look at flowers, you would love it. If you love painting flowers, you would love it. If you are into botanical art, you would love it. Or I think just period, if you like nature, you know, having this book is such a good talking point if you have someone over at the coffee table. And yeah, beautiful work. So here I then discovered, well, look at this, for example, is what I was trying to say. So there is a radish, and there is they put wasabi, which is obviously like a Japanese horseradish equivalent to a horseradish root, very spicy. This is what it looks like. We all know wasabi with sushi, but you know, you might not know what it actually looks like. So it's an amazing thing that looks incredibly complicated to even begin to think where to start with this. All the roots, tiny little threads. So they took, in a way, two similar objects but very different styles. So that's the layout design. And this one is 1800 and this is 2011. So this artist called Asuka Haishiki, sorry if I mispronounce, is a stunning piece of art. And actually what was interesting for me to discover is that I, before this book, wasn't aware that there are so many Japanese botanical artists, and their works are just impeccable. And when I say impeccable, I just mean it's like it's not a photographic representation in the sense of, for example, if you know Anna Mason, you know, it sort of looks very realistic, but the amount of detail is very realistic, but the style is sensational. So that perfect kind of combination of them two, I only found to be in the within the Japanese botanical art. And to me that was quite new. I didn't even know that you know, there were Japanese botanical artists. It just never happened to come across them. But just stunning, absolutely stunning. I highly recommend you look into that. And yeah, so that's the book. I'll just give you a random kind of flip through. So there's some photography as well. So this is a photogram. Not sure what that is, but yeah, just to give you an idea. For example, you'd think, what on earth is that? So that's a hand-colored scanning election microgram. So there's these sort of scientific kind of representations of flowers as well, and just nice, you know, to see different varieties of flowers. And look at this one. This one is stunning. I don't even know what this plant is. So there are some plants that you know, 100% you've never seen them before, whether in nature or just in general, like in nature programs or photography books or whatever. They have an amazing collection of artists here, and they pick the work so well, going to prehistorical pieces to modern. It's stunning. I mean, what else could I say? So this is watercolor on paper, this is watercolor and pencil on paper, 1985, 1988. So they put artists from similar time. And this is Pandora Sellars. Sorry if I can't get them all in, so hopefully you can see there. And Celia Roser. So yeah, this book would be great as a gift, either to yourself or to anyone you know. It's amazing, and I will leave the Amazon link below, because on Amazon it had quite a bit of a discount. I think it's a lot cheaper, it seemed, to buy on Amazon than if you would buy it from a bookstore or something like that. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.